I am so pumped to talk about one of my absolute favorite champions of all time in Raid Shadow Legends, Maulie Tankard, and I'm not sure if you know all of this information. I don't think you do. What's up, guys? MtgJedi here. How you doing today? It's just patiently waiting for a raid announcement here. They are supposed to be publishing something or other this morning, and that's what I was going to do my video on. And so while I was waiting, I was taking a look at Maulie's gear and also perusing to see how many copies I actually had. And I was going to update her gear. Instead of doing that on my own, I thought I'd share that with you. And let's dive in for a deep dive on Maulie Tankard and her uses, because they are extensive. She's one of the most versatile champions in the game, and as you can see with pulling her so many times, I have a lot of knowledge on this topic, so I thought I would share all of that with you today. Maulie Tankard, one of my favorite champions in the game, and I think one of the most common champions I pull out of the vault on takeovers. Her most common use these days is going to be in Hydra, but I have used her in so many areas of the game on multiple accounts of mine, as well as an uncountable number of other people's accounts. So we're going to talk about all of that today. I mention her from time to time being very good in Hydra, and the reason why is because not only does she bring a provoke and a revive, but she also, because of this reflect damage buff, can most of the time be a good mischief tank for you. Depends on the team, of course, but if this is a unique buff, and it does help if you use a blood shield accessory, which I'm probably going to include here, but this is just an incredible champion all over the place. I haven't updated this build in a while, so we're going to take a look at the build, the blessings, the masteries. We're going to take a look at all of that today and see what we can do, see how we can improve it. I have a lot of information to share with you. Before we do that, I want to show you the two most common builds on her, and that is going to be broken sets, I guess, with some resistance and accuracy builds, okay? Maulie, yes, she is a defense-based champion. She can do good damage as a defense-based champion. However, most of the time, you want your revivers to be tanky so that they're the last to die, right? That way they can revive the rest of your team. That's the whole point. And she's bringing a lot to the team. That's why she's one of the best revivers for Hydra in the game, period. So when you're going to go build her, I often see people neglecting this resistance stat, and then that leads to her reflect damage getting stolen, and if there's any mishaps with your block buffs, it can be the downfall of your run. So I love running the lightning cage blessing on her. It will help with all of that, and also it will help direct the head of mischief to target her, which I like, having somebody that fills that role. Because in addition to that, when they target her, you get that turn meter boost, okay? So all of that to say, when you build her, if you have the gear available, build her for resistance and accuracy. If you don't have the gear available, then you have to just do accuracy, and obviously speed is important as well. So when I'm going to build this, I used crit rate gloves because I have some stats available in other places, like the ascensions on the gear, which you're going to see. And in addition, my Great Hall, the live arena area bonuses, all of those things add up. Plus, my Maulie is +4. So I have a lot of extra stats, and that allows me to do some things, okay? So if you can't do that, I encourage you to stick with defense % gloves. You could also do HP %, okay? You'll notice when I'm looking for ascension bonuses, I either want some combination of defense and accuracy. I want my substats to be like HP, defense, accuracy, resistance. These substats on these boots, like basically perfect, right? And then speed ascension on this boots is going to be really helpful as well. I don't have any crazy glyphs on here. This is all just like, I would say good, but not ridiculous. Good, but not ridiculous gear. We do have a couple triple speed rolls. Maybe that's unrelatable, but this type of build is accessible, okay? The second type of build that I really like on her is bolster. You want her to be targeted. She is great in a Ghost second team. And if you can get Stone Skin with the bolster, that is probably the best combination. If you have somebody like Duchess, you probably want Stone Skin and bolster on her first. So, or White Queen Ancora is another great one for Stone Skin and bolster. Those type of champions, and Maulie as well. I should be seeing a lot more Maulies in your arena setups. And this is probably how I would do it. I might just throw my Hydra build in there. That would be fine as well. Especially if you have somebody protecting her or a secondary reviver. Like, she would probably be good in a team with like Pythion, for example, or Duchess, or White Queen, any of those types of revivers. Okay, so then how do I want to gear her now that I have more gear options available? Well, one of the best possible combinations is going to be keeping these stats while also getting her in Merciless gear. Now, all we need for Merciless is this 4-piece set. You could also, in addition to Merciless, you could also try to get Reflex in here. Okay, Reflex is going to be great as well. All of my Reflex is kind of spoken for at the moment, and so I don't really have good options. I need to farm some more Ice Golem, or I need to be willing to steal gear from somebody. Yes, I could take Lanicus's gear. I don't know that she's going to have the necessary stats. And then, like, some of these other ones, they're just not the right substats. So I'm going to try to do both. Going to try to do Reflex and Merciless, but I'm going to start out with just Merciless so you can see that build, and then we'll go from there. I'm also going to show you a lot of different teams that she can be in and how I would set that up. Please make sure to hit the like button, and in the comments below, wherever on the screen I need to point, please in the comments let me know, are you using Maulie, and what teams are you using her in? Okay, before I go and glyph everything, this is the build that I'm thinking about going with here. I've used a Merciless ring so that I could do 3 pieces of Merciless here. I ascended this one and used some Chaos Dust to flip it to Resistance to get the numbers that I need there, or I thought that I need. It's not that great of a chest, it just has the 2 main substats that I'm needing and the main stat. So, like, this is not insane gear or anything. You can do this too, just farm Sand Devil. Okay, and then I put a protection amulet on here. I'll flip the crit damage, or the attack, I mean, later. And then I can glyph this as well. And then I have some high amount of accuracy here to make up for losing that. And then same thing over here. So what I'm going to do, what I like to do, is go and ascend each piece of gear twice. You're going to build up so many little oils that you're not going to know what to do with yourself. And if not, then you haven't farmed Sand Devil enough. I've farmed Sand Devil enough for all of us. So I'm going to glyph these, and I'm going to get the best stats that I can. And then this piece will be usable if I put it on somebody else later. But for now, it's going to stick on Maulie, and I'm going to glyph it out so that we can have the most amount of stats that we can get. And I think that this is going to be a lot better build, and I think a lot more of us are going to start to do these Merciless builds because they're very good. And then I think the last thing I need to glyph is each of these, so I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so that ends us up not as fast and not as tanky, but with more crit damage and about the same amount of resistance and accuracy that we had before, but this time we're in Merciless. And so that is going to allow us to cycle through this provoke a lot faster. Maulie does not do this on her own, like unless somebody's dead. So she's gonna have this available, and then you do want HP burn in the team. This 50% damage increase is extremely significant. Even if you don't have crit rate on there, it's a big boost. I actually don't think that it works like this. I think it's almost like a huge static boost. But either way, the boost is significant in terms of damage, so I highly recommend that. So here's the build that we're going to use for now, and let's go ahead and take a look at some results of some old teams that I used to use in Hydra with similar builds to this. So if we take a look here, is this the first one or the second one? I think this is the second one. We have a Thar team that is using Cupidus and Venus, and my Trunda back when she was very bland. And that Trunda could be basically anyone you want. This was, I think, the first team that I made that reached the turn limit, which is super cool, okay? And the main reason how we got there was Maulie and Nikmo boosting the turn meter, okay? And then the other one is this one. I think this was the previous team that I tried before that, before I put Cupidus in the team and Mithrala, or I'm not exactly sure. But either way, it is very good. It is very good. And this is the type of things that you can do with your Hydra teams. So let me hop over to my Hydra section in game now and think about how I would build a team with her today. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to want with our Maulie is some sort of turn meter boosting champion. Her passive boosts the turn meter, and if we have other champions who also do that, we can cycle through our abilities really quickly on our champions and get a lot more turns than what the bosses are doing. And so a lot of times, these are the types of champions that you want to pair with her. Personally, I don't like pairing Sifi with her because that's the reviver slot. You don't need that. I love pairing any of these other three with her, so it would depend on who you have on your team, whether or not you want to boost it with them or not. For me, I'm going to do Mashald for this build because I think that people need to hear that, okay? The next thing that we are going to want in the team is going to be a decrease speed champion, and there are a lot of good ones. Krisk is particularly good with her because he helps protect your team. In addition to that, there are a lot of other good options as well, but I think for this play or for this build, who am I missing here? Maybe it's in the vault. For this build, I wanted to use... Okay. Oh, there we go. The owl. Okay. I might make a dedicated video on the owl because she has just really impressed me lately. And she can also be put in provoke gear to help with the provokes. She could also be put in cursed gear as a very good set on her as well. But one of those two is particularly good with her. And then that way you have the increased speed, the decreased speed. All of that is great. Now, if you just got your Inquisitor Shamails, now is a good time to put them in a team just like this. So, I should have probably just searched ShamWow and put him in there, okay? He likes to be at the back of the team. And then we can fill in with the rest of the things that we need. We're going to need a decreased defense champion. We're going to need a block buffs champion. So we could go with Ugo on that. It doesn't really matter. What? Reset the filters, I guess. We need a decreased defense champion. I suppose you could do Michinaki in here. He would be able to do decreased defense and Hex. And then you wouldn't have to put the Owl in a Hex set. He's also very good. And then we probably want somebody to protect our team in some way, so some type of shield effect. And this is kind of like how I build. Where is it? Positive. Oh, it's a buff. This is how I build Hydra teams. I kind of go through like this. Now, if you didn't have Michinaki in there, we could just use our Mithrala there right behind me. But there are plenty of other good champions to use. Does he do a shield? Where does he do a shield? Oh, on the HP champions. Well, that might be enough, though. We might be able to get away with using Padrag in here in addition to Mashald. And man, this team is going to be taking so many turns. If we did that, though, I think we would probably need to switch to Ugo because we really do need that block buffs. There are, of course, other good champions, and then we could put our Owl in the Cursed set. And that's the type of team that I love building with my Maulie. That's not the only type of team you can build, but that's the type of team that I like to build. Let's hop over and talk about some arena stuff. And, also Magma Dragon. I was like, there's definitely a third one. There's definitely a third one because she is so good against the Magma Dragon. You can basically, actually, let's keep that in there. You can use whatever your, max HP champions that you have, somebody to clear waves, and then 2 flex spots. Like, let's say you're all about your Roxam, right? After you watched my video, you're like, yes, Roxam. And then you just want to go fast and have another reviver, right? So Maulie is going to bring you some great options for the Magma Dragon as well. If you're using her in Hydra or Arena, you might as well build her, okay? You might as well. Out of curiosity, is this going to... I wonder how fast this run would be. Okay, and there we have it. 1:14, definitely not bad. Newt and Leo kind of taking charge here, but Maulie's the reason, that we were successful here with that provoke. All right, now one thing you have to be careful of with Maulie is that with all the sheep going around, you're gonna have to be careful. Okay, you're gonna have to be careful. Right, so I still think it's worth it because you know what your opponents are going to bring. It's not like it's a secret. So, for example, in my team here, I used to run a setup where we had Maulie as the provoke and an additional revive with the Arbiter. And also, that helps you if they go first. Because you can cut in if they have somebody like Lady Kimmy, for example, who's going to hit you. You can boost your turn meter here. But this is probably a nice setup with White King and White Queen. Then you have 3 revivers to go with your White King. That sounds obnoxious. But you can also use your Go Second Maulie if you're going to use that build, and she works really well with a lot of common champions. So if you have your Maulie, she's going to work really well in this Ultimate Death Knight Sun Wukong type of team. She pairs well in here with Mithrala. She pairs well in here with Hefrak. Either one of those is going to be great. I'm not sure we can beat this team, but I think we should try. So let's come in here and see what's going to happen. I think that probably Armands is just going to control us. But let's see what he does. Because I don't actually know what he's going to do. Okay. I mean, that Maulie with the bolster and Ultimate Death Knight really shut down the Siegfried. I would say, let's just A1. That was ineffective. Okay. Maybe we'll get our ultimate, our Sun Wukong back, and we'll be able to strip the buffs. But yeah, this is a pretty tough team. Ah, well, he's dead. Okay, there's the Heffrak coming in there. Okay, we're gonna just get completely controlled by the Armands. And I think we kind of need to just go for it here, so let's do that. And then, are you just gonna revive everyone? Okay. Alright, Sun Wukong. Bring it home, my dude! Oh, he used it already. Well, I mean, what are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do? If that wasn't on cooldown, I actually think we might have won this match. And that should tell you the strength of this team. It is very annoying. Very annoying. Oh, we got the sheep on the, we got the protection on the sheep. That's nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and provoke. I don't know how you were able to attack there. Oh, you weren't provoked. Okay, well, yeah, that was a pretty tough team. Okay, pretty tough team. But let's see if we run it against like a more reasonable team. Like here's this old school Arbiter Sifi Rhodos style team. And even if we don't win, you can see how good and annoying this is on defense. Let's see here. If we had sheep there, that would have been great. We do like to provoke, even if we don't get the provoke, because it has that reflect damage. Alright, 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 alright. Okay. And then let's try to kill them. Boom. And there you have it, okay? So this type of a team is really strong, and those are the three main areas that I like to use her in. Those are the builds I like to use. What do you think about this amazing champion, Maulie Tankard? Are you using her? Did I convince you? Because, like, come on. Come on. She's amazing. All right, that'll do it for me here today. I don't know what announcement Polarium's going to make, but, you know, I guess it's not that important. So we'll have to figure that out. Thank you for sticking around all the way to the end of the video. I appreciate you. Hope you appreciate me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.